Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Totalbiscuit. I thought I'd throw this quick vlog together to give you information about a few things that are going on over the next month or so, some developments and cool stuff like that. I like to put this out every now and again just to make sure that you guys are kept abreast of things like plans for forthcoming content and elements that might affect you over the coming weeks. So the first few things I want to talk about are contest related. Now, most of you are probably aware that we did win the King of the Web contest, which was awesome, and once that 7,500 actually comes in, that will be added to the total that we've raised thus far, which is actually quite a lot. If you head over to the URL that's in the description below this video, then what you will see is that we've raised, at the time of creation, $9,726 towards our $15,000 campaign goal. That means that with the 7,500 that we are going to be getting from King of the Web, we'll go over that. So we'll probably extend the campaign goal. There's still 70 days left on the campaign, so there's plenty of time to donate, and we're all sorting this out for charity water. At the moment, $15,000 will actually serve 750 people in 3 communities with clean water projects. That's kind of a big deal. So we are dealing with that as best we can and trying to get as much money in to that appeal as humanly possible. Things are going really well, so thank you to all of those who have donated or who have simply supported by voting in the King of the Web contest. You are all awesome. Now, speaking of King of the Web, this contest does run every 14 days. I am, needless to say, not running again, because that would be kind of scummy, and we are bowing out until the Battle Royale. The Battle Royale is a big event that's happening in August, I think, of this year, and all of the guys who are in the top 25 of each King of the Web get thrown into this, so it's a big fight, and there will be, by the looks of it, a much larger prize on offer. Now, we have said straight up that we're going to give all of that money to charity water as well. So we don't care how much it is. It might be 50 grand, it might just be 10, it could be 100. We don't really care. We're going to give it all to charity. Now, the thing is that we can actually prepare for this by using the system that King of the Web actually has. Now, those of you who were involved in King of the Web, and if you weren't then and you don't want to get involved, then by all means just skip this part of the video. We'll know that every time that you spend your 10 daily votes, you get a little pip on your meter, and every time you get 5 pips, you earn 10 votes. The bonus votes actually last indefinitely, so that's something to really consider. Now, so far, for instance, I've saved up 40 votes, which I will be able to put towards our campaign, and by the time we get to August, you can have hundreds without a problem. I think we worked out something like 480 votes if you were to vote every day through the contests. So we're asking people to continue to participate in King of the Web because we think it's a good venture, and also to build up votes to give us a real head start in the Battle Royale. And we're going to be going up against some very tough opponents indeed. Also, those who are concerned that I would be running against Jesse Cox, no, that's not going to happen. One way or the other, we will ally in some form. Either I won't run and I'll support him, or he won't run and he'll support me, and so on and so forth. And I have a feeling that a lot of people will end up supporting somebody else, and we'll get down to maybe 10, 20 really strong contestants. But yeah, any support that you can put towards that is very much appreciated. I am currently supporting Lindsay Stomp, aka Lindsay Sterling. You may have seen her music because I've liked it before on here. If you watch TLO's stream for StarCraft 2, you're probably aware of it. If you pay attention to Rooster Teeth, they gave her a shout out as well. Plenty of YouTube partners have realized that she's got a lot of talent. I'm supporting her, but really it doesn't matter who you vote for, honestly. Captain Sparkles is also running for charity, and he's really awesome in that respect, so I know a lot of you are voting for him too. So really it's a case of voting for who you actually think deserves it the most, and currently it's fairly even on the top 2 spots. So kingofweb.com is the place to go for that. If you haven't already signed up, you can do so and start spending your 10 votes a day to start building up your bonus votes. There's also a free app available on iOS and Android that actually reminds you every day. It like pops up and say, hey, you've got votes, you can spend them. So that might be kind of handy for those of you who use smartphones. But yeah, that's the King of the Web. Now, there is another contest that we are trying to compete in, which we did try to compete in last year, I believe. We actually got 3rd place in the gaming category, which wasn't too bad. It's called the Shorty Awards, and this is a contest that's run over Twitter. And the way to participate in that is extremely simple. Basically, if you have a Twitter account, and you've had a Twitter account since before the start of the Shorty Awards this year, so if you create one right now, it's absolutely pointless, it doesn't count, then you can nominate somebody in a category for the Shorty Awards. Now, I've created a URL if you have any interest in nominating me and actually putting a vote towards me for the Shorty Awards. You can head over to tinyurl/tbshorty, which is a dodgy name, but I thought it would be memorable. That's tinyurl.com/tbshorty. It will automatically fill out the form for you, and all you need to do is actually put a reason in. If you don't put a reason into the little Shorty nomination, then it doesn't actually count. And it'll be interesting to see if we can get anywhere in that. The big event is actually held in the Time Center. It's actually a fairly big deal for the industry in general. So it would be quite amusing, I feel, if we were able to get into the top 3 for the gaming category. I think we've certainly got a shot at it. So if you do want to put a vote forward for me, that would be very much appreciated at that URL. That's tinyurl.com/tbshorty. All right, it's enough of the self-serving nonsense out of the way, so let's talk about stuff that's actually relevant to you. And the first thing I want to talk about is we are going to change the way that we release videos. So I've been looking for ways to make my production process more efficient, and there's really 2 things that are actually bottlenecking my ability to produce videos. 1 is encoding time, and 2 is uploading time. Now, uploading time is actually the worst of the lot. Encoding time, we're pretty good. I mean, we've got an overclocked machine that's very powerful. It's a 980X hexacore rig that is absolutely capable of encoding at a very good speed. And it does so admirably. The problem is that's also my gaming machine, so every time I encode, I can't really also record reliably, especially when I'm playing a very taxing game. Say, I start encoding, if I want to load up something like Battlefield 3 or just anything that's taxing really and record it, I'm probably going to suffer a very large frame rate drop, and recording's not going to be an option. Uploading is probably the biggest problem. I live in a pretty bad area for internet, and I can only get 2 megabit upload. And some of you might say, oh, that's amazing. Well, it's like, think about how much I upload every day. Like, I upload more than a gigabyte of footage every day. Now, that is a serious, serious problem, especially when a lot of games now are utilizing online functionality. So if I want to make a video of any game that uses online functionality, then I'm pretty much boned. I can't do it while I'm uploading. That's really unfortunate. It also means that I can't download games from Steam, because when you saturate your upload, you tend to have problems with your download as well, and one affects the other, so that's an absolute pain in the ass. So this has actually resulted in some fairly dodgy upload times. Some of you might have noticed videos coming out at 2 or 3 a.m. GMT. Now, for our European guys and our UK guys, that's awful. It's fine for the Aussies, but hell, even the guys on the East Coast are actually starting to suffer from that, because the stuff is coming out so late for them that they don't have the time to watch it, especially if they've got work or school in the morning and things like that. So what we're going to do, and this is going to happen at some point this week, and you're probably going to notice, because one day there will most likely be no videos, we might be able to maybe do one in advance or whatever, is we're going to move to a day-in-hand system. So what that means is I'm going to use my overnight time when I'm not actually doing anything, i.e. sleeping. Yes, I do sleep from time to time. I'm going to use that time to upload all of the video content to the Dropbox, and the Dropbox is what we use for the various members of Cynical Brit, i.e. the graphic designer and things like that, in order to share assets and things like that. So if a graphic designer makes an image, it goes on the Dropbox and things like that. SHOUTcraft uses the same thing. It's a very popular collab system. So I'm going to put it up there, and then one of my staff, who has a better internet connection than I do because he lives in Sweden, is going to upload the stuff at a more appropriate time. So you can expect, say, a mailbox to be made the night before, uploaded onto the Dropbox, and then released at a time that actually makes sense for people. And that time is most likely going to be, I'd say, probably afternoon-ish EU time, so people who are getting up in the morning on US can actually watch a video before they go to work or school if they like. Those in EU will be able to watch it as soon as they get home from work or school. It's a more friendly time for the vast majority of my audience, and if I look at my statistics, about 70% of my overall views come from European countries, with the largest being the UK and Sweden in terms of the number of views. The US does make up a significant chunk as well in and of itself, which is not surprising, thanks to the Americans for that one. And I think that what we are seeing here is a situation where the Europeans do need to be catered to better, and we're not currently doing that. If we're not really giving the right service and the appropriate release times to our primary demographic, then we're simply not doing it right. Sadly, the Australians, who are actually number 5 in terms of the number of views that we get from various countries, won't be catered to so much here, which does kind of suck, I've got to say. Unfortunately, bearing in mind that everyone is spread across massive numbers of time zones, it's impossible to cater to everyone at once, but we do want to be moving towards a more European and American-focused release time, as opposed to more of an American focus that completely screws over the Europeans. So that's what we're going to be doing, and as a result, one day this week you may see that there are no videos, or like the mailbox doesn't come out on a day, and I just want to let you know why that's happening. I think it'll be better for everyone once we get the system rolling. It also means I can produce more video content, because one of the big bottlenecks to making that content will be removed. and I will be using the time that I don't do anything, i.e. the time that I use to sleep, in order to actually work as well. So everyone's a winner in that regard, and hopefully that means that I can actually make you more video content and push out some higher quality material as well. All right, let's talk about an event that's coming up this weekend, the SHOUTcraft Invitational number 4. Now, this only really applies to anyone that has an interest in StarCraft 2, so feel free to skip forward a couple of minutes if you want to hear about the other stuff. StarCraft 2 is, of course, my passion project. It's something that I love to do, and I have a second channel for all of my content for StarCraft 2. However, I do run these tournaments, and they are self-funded. I fund them via the money that I make from my StarCraft stream, which happens 3 times a week, and also from the guys that donated through the last tournament. SHOUTcraft Invitational 4 is going to be happening on the 14th to the 15th of this month, and it's looking to be absolutely stellar. We've got an amazing lineup of players prepared for you, and even if you have just a passing interest, then I'd encourage you to come on down and check out the tournament, because I have a feeling that you will really enjoy it. We do a great format. We've got a lot of entertaining casting going on. So it is happening on the 14th at 10 a.m. GMT. I know that starts pretty early for the Americans. VODs will be available over on youtube.com/Totalbiscuit, so you don't really have to miss anything there. And on Sunday, it's going to be kicking off slightly later at 12 p.m. GMT. And that's streaming over at twitch.tv/Totalbiscuit. I hope that lots of you will come down and have a look, because it is a really fun tournament, and even if you just got a little bit of interest in StarCraft 2, I think that SHOUTcraft is a great way to actually start having a look at the competitive scene. It will be entertaining, that I can guarantee. Alright, quick mention of the Section 8 servers. They are for the most part going strong, but we are having some stability problems with one of them, so it keeps going down every now and again. However, a lot of people are saying they can't find the servers. Now, I have a feeling that's something to do with the server browser for the game, but we've found the easiest way to find our Section 8 servers is to go to your Conquest search for servers screen and then select the option which allows you to search by clan tag. Now, you put in CB into your clan tag, and every time that will work. So it's very, very simple. Look for clan tag, search for CB, it'll bring up our 2 servers, and then you can go play on that. I do tend to drop in every now and again. I do enjoy myself a little bit of Section 8 Prejudice, and there's been a massive revival in that game. It's actually really encouraging to see. They've had more players on than they have for a very long time. 500,000 people watched that video, and it looks like quite a few people appreciated the idea of the game as well. So Timegate actually thanked us for that, so thanks to all of you guys that decided to support that game. I feel that it's innovative, and while it has its problems, it is a good shooter. So do feel free to go and play on our servers. They are available for your use. Now, upcoming games that I'd like to look at. January is kind of a lame month, really. I think that everyone can see that. Most games don't tend to come out around this period. They'll come out in November and early December, and then there'll be a drought in the early year. However, there are plenty of indie releases and things like that going on that I want to try and cover. King Arthur 2, as some of you are aware, is available for pre-order, which gives you the prologue pack for free, so you can actually start playing it right now. I did play the original King Arthur. It certainly had its problems, but it was an interesting-looking game nonetheless. I even did a early preview over at Gamescom, which you can have a look at. I will most likely be covering King Arthur 2, probably put a couple of videos together with that. I'll also be looking at a game called Starfarer that a lot of you have asked me about. This is a indie space adventure game, which is looking really strong indeed. Some very complex space combat going on down there. It's all kind of top-down. Reminds me a little bit of a mixture of X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, Star Control, and the one and only Starfleet Command. So I do have alpha access to that. It is a game that has a lot of content that still needs to be put in, but I do want to follow its progress and make you guys aware of it, so I'll be looking to put together a video of that within the next week. I've also got beta access to War of the Roses, which is an interview that I did back at Gamescom. I talked to the guys from Fat Shark. They're putting together a melee-centric deathmatch kind of game, which is looking quite interesting. So I'm going to be having a look at War of the Roses quite soon once I'm able to get the beta client installed and things like that. Now, people keep asking me about Firefall. That beta is pretty heavily NDA'd right now, so that's why I'm not able to release any footage, but I will be looking to do that as soon as the NDA is lifted, and that is the same on Guild Wars 2 as well. Those asking if I got into the initial beta, no. Very few people did. The first beta is designed solely for veteran players, and it's for balancing and basically designing game systems and tweaking game systems that are already there. So really the press have no business being there, and as far as I'm aware, no press got access to the first wave of beta. And that's good. I'm glad that they're doing a proper testing beta, but as soon as I'm able to get into that and I'm able to show you content, I will. Also, people keep asking me about towns. Towns is looking interesting. I have played around with it, but it is clunky as hell right now, so I don't know if it's really worth covering in any detail just yet. It might be worth waiting for the alpha to get a little bit further along. And also games like Castle Story and I think sort of Cube World or Cube Quest or something like that. Yeah, I'll be looking into those once they are actually playable. Now, the Talk podcast. This is going to happen about once a month, honestly, I think. I don't want to do a weekly podcast on the Old Republic because I don't have enough time to really play it as much as I want to, but we will be doing a talk probably in the next few weeks, and we'll be having words about the instances. I think that's going to be our next focus, to talk about the instances, because some are pretty good and some aren't, and instances are a fairly vital part of the modern MMO, so we're talking an awful lot about that. Now, last but by no means least, I have a special announcement, folks. Content. I am heading up the production of a Gamestation podcast that is going to be done in the video format. So, some of you have probably seen what's up on my channel, the Ready Up TV episode I did with Team Dignitas. Others will watch the popular webcam podcast, which goes by the name of State of the Game for StarCraft 2. We're going to be doing something similar in terms of its format with the Gamestation, but it's going to be about general gaming. We're going to be debating a lot of stuff. We're going to be talking about recent releases. We're going to be doing game critique and things like that, as well as talking about what's going on our channels, and it's going to be with a wide variety of different Gamestation hosts, and I've had interest from several people, including Dodger and Guns for Hire, as well as Jesse Cox, of course, so we're going to be looking into launching that quite soon, and that is actually going to be on the Gamestation channel. I will be front-paging it on my channel, so you can't really miss it. But I'm looking forward to doing that. I think it's about time that we did some major collab with other Gamestation partners, and I think the podcast is a good way to do that. So I say it will be a video podcast. It will also be released on iTunes. I know that you guys have been looking to get a new podcast from me for a while, so yes, we will be putting that up on iTunes for those of you to listen on the go. And if you do want to see our ugly mugs, then you can do so via the use of the actual video itself. Should be fairly lengthy. We're looking for 90-minute shows on either a weekly or bi-weekly basis, most likely weekly if we can pull it off, and it'll be a rotating cast of hosts, and if we can do it live, then we will also do a live stream of that broadcast. So that's something that I'm really excited with doing, honestly. I think that should be absolutely fantastic, and I'm hoping that you guys will enjoy it very much. Alright, there we go. That was longer than I expected, but, well, brevity's never been my strong point, as you're well aware. Thank you very much for continuing to support this channel. We are about to hit 600,000 subscribers. That's a very exciting milestone right there, and hopefully we continue this success going through to the new year. I'll see you next time.